Hi, everyone. I'm Betsy Kreider. I'm with Be Creative Stamping, and I'm located in central Pennsylvania. I'm so happy that you're here to join us for the Creative Stamping Collective for the month. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you're coming back again and joining us again, welcome back. I hope that you're loving these tutorials as much as we are. This month, we are featuring Amber Autumn, the bundle Amber Autumn out of the new catalog, the Fall Winter catalog. And let's get started. Okay, so what I'm going to show you my card here. This one, I love the this fall look. I love the fall look of this Amber Autumn set with the pumpkins and the acorns. I loved everything about it. It's so very pretty. And it's a great die set. The papers, the designer series papers, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of ideas this month with the designer series paper as well that coordinates with it. But I really wanted to kind of think outside the box on this one and kind of give you some different coloring. Lost Lagoon is one of my favorites. So I used Lost Lagoon on this and some soft sea foam as my colors. So let's get started on this. It's a pretty simple card. It's just got some coloring involved. We're going to go ahead and it's a standard card base. Your tutorial will have all of your measurements in it. We have some pieces of early espresso, one for the front, one for the inside, and then we have some pieces of soft sea foam. Now, what I did, one for the inside and one for the front. Now, what I did was I went ahead and pre-embossed this. This is also part of that suite. This is the Gathering Leaves folder, and I went ahead and embossed it with that to have this go on the front. So I'm going to put these together, and you could do the side that where the embossing is coming up at you. You could do it with the side with the embossing going down, deboss side, I guess. You could do it either way. And I'm going to add this to my card front. Like that. Now I have a piece of Very Vanilla, and this is what I'm going to use to stamp my pumpkins. I am using Early Espresso, but I didn't want it super dark. I wanted mine to have just a little bit of a lighter shade. I didn't want it to be the dark Early Espresso. So I could have stamped like in a crumb cake or something like that. But what I did was I just took a piece of scratch paper. I stamped off first, and then I stamped my image. Like that. So it's just a little bit of a lighter shade than the dark. See the difference? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my blends to color this in. So I'm going to start with the light Lost Lagoon first. And I'm also going to start with the light Pool Party. I'm going to do this little pumpkin down here. So I'm going to come in with the Lost Lagoon first, which is the darker shade. And I'm just going to color around the lines of the pumpkin, giving it essentially like outlining it on each one of those there. I'm going to go and connect the dots down here, connect the lines, and then the artist builds in shading for you. So let me bring this up a little bit. The artist will bring in shading. Let me get one of these lights out of your way here. The artist will bring in shading for you so you can kind of see where the shading is. You can add then your darker marker where that shading is to give you some of the highlights and the lowlights. I'm now going to bring in my light Pool Party, and I'm just going to kind of go over those lines of what I put in, and I'm just kind of building that line around it. And I'm kind of doing it in like an oval kind of feel, almost like what the pumpkin is itself. I'm going over that, and I'm not filling the whole thing in. I want to allow for white space in the pumpkin. That just gives it a little bit more of a 3D look. Okay. Bring that in a little closer so you can see it. So I didn't fill the whole pumpkin in. I just kind of colored in around those edges. So know that you can kind of mix and match your colors. You don't have to always just use one color, mix and match. So this is Lost Lagoon and Pool Party. The next one I'm bringing in is going to be the light Calypso Coral and the dark Petal Pink. And I'm going to do the larger pumpkin, and I'm going to do it the exact same way. So I'm going to take the Calypso Coral, which is the darker color. I'm going to line outline those lines of the pumpkin, kind of build that shading. And with coloring, it comes down to what is fun, right? So make it fun. Don't feel like there's rights and wrongs. Just color in until it makes you happy. I'm going to go ahead now with the dark petal pink and bring in, a lot of people tell me petal pink seems to be a little bit more of an orange touch to it. So it's perfect for this. It's kind of peachy versus a true pink. So it works perfectly with this pumpkin to give you a little bit of the orange shading with that Calypso coral. And I did the exact same thing that I did with the blue one. I just left some of that shading. I left some open space, some white space in there on the pumpkin. The third thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring in now the dark sea foam, where is it? There it is. I'm going to bring in the dark soft sea foam, and I'm going to bring in the light lemon lolly. Dark soft sea foam, and I'm going to bring in lemon lolly. I'm going to take the dark of the green, and I'm going to outline this gourd right on those lines. I'm going to give it some shading on those little hash marks that the artist already built in for us. And I'm going to color in with the lemon lolly. And in this case, I just ended up coloring the whole gourd in. There we go, just like that. Now, what I wanted to do is I brought in some of the lemon lolly also on the corn. So down here, I'm going to color in the corn with my lemon lolly, but around here in Pennsylvania, when you decorate for fall, one of the things that we decorate with is called Indian corn. The Indian corn has multiple colors in it. So what I wanted to do is kind of have it mimic that. So I'm going to bring in my dark Highland Heather, and I'm using just the nub end of this, and all I'm going to do is just dot around randomly on the corn so that I can get, so Indian corn, if you look it up, it's got kind of blues and purples and reds and yellows and oranges in it. It's got all kinds of shades. So I did it with the Highland Heather. Then I brought in the dark Lost Lagoon and added some blue. And it just kind of ties it in. And again, you're just dotting it, no right way, wrong way, till you get what looks like Indian corn. Isn't that cute? Hopefully you can see that pretty well. Okay, I also brought in some crumb cake. I used the crumb cake to do my stems on my pumpkins. Just adding some dark. I'll bring in the light crumb cake to kind of shade in around it. And I'm also going to use the crumb cake to kind of go around some of these wispy little grasses, some of the leaves that are off here to the side. This little leaf here, though, he's going to mostly be covered, so you don't have to worry about him too much. And then the little silks or grasses that go with the corn, I added some crumb cake to that. There's also some shading underneath, and I'm going to show you another tip here on the shading. I am going to now bring in my light soft sea foam. Anytime you have an image like this that you want to have, you want to kind of ground it. That's why these have hash marks right here on the sides. You want to ground it to the paper so that it doesn't look like it's kind of floating out into space. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to color around this image with the soft sea foam. I've seen people do this with Pool Party, that it kind of gives it a blue sky look behind it. I liked this soft pastel-y look. So I'm just adding soft sea foam the whole way around it. You can also use a color lifter to kind of blend some of that out, but I do want it kind of thick because I'm going to die cut this. So it's going to have an edge, vanilla edge around it anyway. But by adding this, I'm kind of giving it a shadowed look so that it seems like this is not just sitting out in space somewhere. Just color all the way around. There we go. Like that. So you can see the difference here, okay, of just having it so that it looks like it's solid, like there's a, it's three-dimensional, that it's popping up at you. It's got some shadow behind it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take your dies and you're going to die cut this. And what you're going to end up getting is this, okay? So when you die cut that, now remember I stamped off and had a little bit of a lighter shade. If you want a darker shade, here it is with it not stamped off. If you decide not to stamp off the early espresso and want it darker, that's what it turned out to be. So you can kind of see the difference between those two. Or you could always stamp it in a crumb cake if you want it a little bit lighter as well. One of the things that I used in this one also is the new traditional labels dies. This is going with the traditional Christmas suite. And I use this die to cut a piece of Lost Lagoon to get this, I can grab a hold of it, this label here. All right, so this is going to go on my front. I'm also using some of the ribbon that comes in this suite. And all I did was kind of fold it over like that. And I'm going to add dimensionals to the back of this. So I'm going to put lots of dimensionals on the back, because this is going to help hold my ribbon in place. So I don't skimp on dimensionals. As you can see, I like to put a lot of them on there. But this is going to help hold my ribbon. So I'm going to have that ribbon flipped over, and then I'm going to add it to the back like that, so that the dimensionals are now holding that in place. And I'm going to add this then to my front panel piece. This then gets glued down to the front. I overlapped it a little over here on the right hand side. Pick it up, make sure I've got that straight. I'm going to stamp my greeting, and I'm going to use Lost Lagoon for the greeting on the soft seafoam paper. I'm going to use thanks. I'm going to trim this. You could trim it straight up and down. I'm going to trim it at an angle. And here's a tip for you. If I go at this angle and I want to do this angle and have it be exactly the same, grab this, put it on this side. Now what you can do is line it up, and you know that those angles are going to be exactly the same. I'm going to glue that down on here. And I think actually what I did was, because it's going to overlap a little bit, I put glue on one side and I put a dimensional on the other side, because that's going to hold like right here where there is space. So I'm going to put that here. Like I said, that one leaf's going to get covered, so you don't really even have to color it in. And put that there. Watch your side here. Just make sure that whenever you go to put it together, that you've got everything in enough, or you've trimmed enough so that you don't have your card going out over the side. For the twine, this is the Early Espresso twine. It comes with Early Espresso and Old Olive. That is, I would love twine in just about every color if I could get it. This is, I'm going to tie a bow. With linen thread, what I usually do is just create a loop, almost like tying your shoelaces. I create the loop, go around the loop, and then I grab a hold of that and pull. Now what I want to do is I want to hold the knot. When I hold the knot in place, and I then can adjust my little loops to the size that I need to be. So I give it a little tug, pull them a little tighter, adjust again, give it a little tug, pull a little tighter until I get the bow that I want. I'm going to take a glue dot. I just wrap it a little on my fingers, put it where I want it to go, which I'm going to go right there underneath the thanks. Push my linen thread down into that, and then bring my scissors in to trim. Last thing I have here is going to be actually next to the last thing are my iridescent pearl basic gems. Now these are pearls, but I wanted to have Lost Lagoon, and we currently don't have any Lost Lagoon embellishments, or at least I don't think we do. So what I decided to do was make my own. By doing that, I can use the blends marker, and I can run the blends marker right over top of those gems to get the colors that I want. Now be careful, the more you do that, you could fray your tip. So I try to save my older markers for doing that technique so that I know I'm not messing up the tip of my marker. I save the ones that are already kind of beat up for that. I'm going to add my dimensionals or my little gems. So I'm going to put one here on my pumpkin, another one on my pumpkin, and I'm going to put one up here. For the inside here, what I'm going to do is go ahead and on this one, what I did was I actually stamped this, and I was considering popping the pumpkin up, and I didn't do it. So I used the pumpkin that I cut out, and I put that in the inside. You could also very easily just stamp this image, and I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to take this image, the pumpkins again. This time, though, I'm going to stamp off twice. 1, 2, so that I have even a lighter shade, and I'm going to stamp that on the corner of my piece for the inside. So it's a much lighter shade. And while I have that, before I ink again, I'm going to stamp it one more time. I haven't inked again. I'm going to stamp again on my envelope, which gives it even lighter shade. This is kind of nice because now what I want to do is stamp some words over top of that on my envelope, and I'm going to use Autumn Wishes. And this is full strength, and I'm going to stamp it right over top of the pumpkins that are in a light, and it gives it that look. Isn't that pretty? I like that look. So this is my inside. And that is the card. That is my card for this month. It's so easy to do. It's just a matter of coloring. Don't let coloring stress you out. Just go with it. Light to dark, dark to light. Mix up your colors. I'm doing blues and oranges with, pinks, and yellows with greens. Don't feel like there's any right way or wrong way to do it. Make it your own. And that is my card for the month. Let me add myself back in here. Thank you again for joining us for the Creative Stamping Collective. We have a blast doing this every month, providing it to you, whether it's through being part of our team and getting it for as a team benefit, getting it as paid that you bought the tutorial, or whether or not you earned it with an order. We are so happy to be doing this. The other demonstrators and I are having a blast, and we hope you're loving it too. Thanks a lot for joining us for the collective, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.